Hey y'all, my name is Sonu and this is Temp, which stands for Temporary Variables. This is going to be my first devlog. This channel is going to be about programming projects that I work on for fun and other computer/tech related things. Over Black Friday, I upgraded my RAM from 16 GBs to 64 GBs, which has been a much needed upgrade and it has been amazing. I also just received a new 2TB Samsung 980 Pro NvMe SSD that I'll be installing, and it will be replacing my old 256GB SSD boot drive. And I don't know why I made that sound like I was being sponsored by Samsung. I am not sponsored by them. So that is my first task for today. Let me go ahead and get Windows on a USB drive and reset my PC. I'll also have to reinstall all my applications and reset up my dev environment, which I think will be a cool way to start my first devlog. I'll be right back. Let me go and get that SSD installed. See you all in a bit. So this is the SSD that I will be installing. This is my PC right here. So let's get started. This looks good enough. It's on here. Here you go. To first take all these screws off. This tempered glass. Okay, I need to be careful with this. Let me put the camera down. Okay, I've taken the tempered glass off. Let me go ahead and get in there and take that NvMe SSD out. Unscrew this one. Oh shit. Oh. This is the perfect situation where an extender would be nice, and luckily I have one right here. So let me use that to get all the way down there and get that screw out. Oh, the graphics card is kind of hot. There you go. This is the old one. Yeah. There it is in all its glory. These things are so small. There's the other one. Okay, let's take it out now. Should probably be careful. And let's put it in there. Okay, I'm definitely going to put the camera down for this. And it's installed. Let me go ahead and plug everything back in. Clean this all up. See y'all in a bit. Also, while we're here, you can see the two different RAM sticks that I installed. These are like the Vengeance 64, or I think it's 232 GB sticks. I tried to install Windows 11, but it said that my computer wasn't compatible with it, which is weird because I was using Windows 11 this entire time. So I'm installing Windows 10 and then I'll upgrade it to Windows 11. So I was able to install Windows 10. I'm now trying to update to Windows 11, but there seems to be some hardware requirement changes that I have to make. So I just enabled TPM in the ASRock BIOS. Just quick search online on how to do that, and now I'm hoping that allows me to update. Okay, it looks like it's all set and it's saying that I have all the requirements. And we're back. So I have Windows 11 installed now. To start off, I'll go ahead and start cleaning some stuff up. So I'll probably start off by cleaning this taskbar. Okay, and there you go. So that's done. Next, go ahead and remove any bloatware. As you can see, Windows comes with a lot of bloatware that I want to remove. And I know there are tools out there for this, but I'll just go ahead and do this manually. Okay, I think I've gone ahead and uninstalled everything I don't want. I will also clean up anything I see here that I don't want, so uninstall that. I don't know why these don't show up there. I really wish Windows came with less bloatware, especially since you pay for a license. Okay, now that I've removed all the bloatware, I'm going to go ahead and start installing the different tools that I use on my computer. So for starters, I'll be installing Chrome. I will install Visual Studio Code, which is my preferred code editor. I will install GitHub for desktop and also Git, so I can use the command line interface in the terminal to do specific tasks. I will be installing League of Legends, which is my preferred game. I will install Power Tools by Microsoft. This, I think, isn't as well known as the others, so I might go a little bit into what I do to set this up and why I use this and what it's for. And then finally, I'll also install Flutter and get that all set up, because for my first project, I will most likely be using it, and stay tuned for that. So let me go ahead and get that started, and I'll be back. While things are installing, I wanted to show that my 2TB SSD is now online. It is also the boot drive, so I'm excited about that. A lot more space to do a lot more things. Now that I have everything I need installed, there are other applications that I will install as time goes on, but for now, I think everything I have is good enough, for at least for me to get started on my development work and other fun things that I want to work on. The one tool I did want to talk about was PowerToys, and I use PowerToys specifically for a similar functionality which is on Macs, which is called Spotlight, but I have it set to control space. Whenever I click that, it brings up this Spotlight type search bar, which I think it's called PowerToys Run or something in the PowerToys site. So I can actually open that. So if I go to PowerToys here, click down, and right here under PowerToys Run, you can see right here we have a quick launcher that has additional capabilities without sacrificing performance. PowerToys Run, and I have it set to control space. I think by default it's alt space, but that's just a personal preference that I have. Yeah, and that's what I use it for, just to open applications quicker, and it saves quite a bit of time, at least in my personal opinion. Now that we have the new operating system installed and set up, and I have a basic environment set up, I want to talk about my first, I would say, mini project that I want to work on. The first mini project that I'm going to work on is a task board that allows you to keep track of all my different tasks that I want to complete. And I know there's a lot of great alternatives out there, but I just want something that I can use on my own and that has my own personal touches to it. And I think the biggest one by far is creating a more like command line based task tool. So what I mean by that is I want to not have to use my mouse to move tasks around in the screen. I want to be able to open the application, type some stuff out to create the task, type stuff out to move the task from one row to the next. That's one big component of it. And the other big component that I want is I want it to be, I've always had this idea of a recursive task board where each task itself can be a board. So when I say I want it to be recursive, I want to be able to create a task on the board, and then I want that task to be able to be a board on it in itself. So each task basically can be a board, and each board is a task. I wanted to kind of showcase my idea on this new app that recently Apple released called Freeform, which is like an infinite canvas. So I've really been enjoying using this. I created this like mock-up of what the UI would look like. And here I have a basic board. It's called main. And we have these different rows or these different columns that you commonly see in any Jira board with the backlog and progress and done. And then you can also see that I have a task here. But what's interesting is within this task, I also have another board itself. So what this means is when I click on this task, it should take me over to this other board right here. So you can see that while this task was called, this board right here is called main, this board right here is called main/task, which represents that this is a board and these are all the subtasks. So this right here is a subtask, like task 1 is a subtask of our main task. And that's what the recursive factor that I was trying to mention. There's also this input field down here. And as I said before, I don't really want to use my mouse to do things. So I'm trying to create like this CLI or like this command line, which I can use to create tasks, move tasks from in progress, from backlog to in progress or in progress to done, and so on. So over here, I could do something like write do taxes. And it should just go ahead and in my current board, so in this case, it would do it in main, it should go ahead and create a task right here called do taxes. And sorry about my handwriting. I know it's not the best, but I hope that gives a better idea of what I'm going for. I think the next steps are to create what I like to call an MVP. And by an MVP, we need to first define what an MVP is for our product. What MVP stands for is minimal viable product. It's used in the industry quite a bit. And it is the bare minimum what functionality you want from this project or this product itself. And I want to go ahead and define this for very specific reasons. I don't want to be lost in a world of a lot of creativity. I'm doing this so that I restrain myself because it will be very often in my experience I start working on products and then I keep adding on and I don't know when to stop. And knowing when to stop is very important. So I love creating this box of a MVP and I just like to create the minimum viable product and call it a day. And then later in the future, I can go back to it and add more, but it gives me a ending point. It gives me a point where I can be like, I'm done and I'm satisfied. Okay, let's go ahead and define an MVP now. So the first thing we have is adding a task. We should be able to edit a task, remove a task, move a task. So this is moving the task from like the backlog to in progress or from in progress to done. And then finally, we should be able to open a task. And this is the recursive aspect that I was talking about before. But when we click on a task, it should go ahead and open a new board with all the subtasks. And I would like to do all of these using either the text field at the bottom or using UI elements. So what I mean by the text field is, as I showed you before, there's a text field at the bottom of the screen. We want to be able to type different things and not have to use the mouse to complete these 5 tasks, such as me typing add do taxes, and that should create a do taxes task in the backlog. Or we should be able to do delete do taxes, and it should be able to remove or delete that specific task. So I want to be able to cover both of these sides. I want to be able to cover the actual UI elements and also the text field. And I definitely want to put a more emphasis on the text field as I would like to avoid using my mouse. But I think it is necessary for at least this bare functionality to be able to be done in both ways. Now that I have the MVP defined, we can go ahead and start working on the implementation.